What happens when the OTC desks run out of Bitcoin? Well, we're going to find out in a number of days because not only are the OTC desks running dry of Bitcoin, but so are the Bitcoin exchanges. So today we're going to be running the maths and having a look at just how bad this supply suffocation is in Bitcoin. And we're going to be showing you why the supply suffocation created by the launch of the new Bitcoin spot ETFs has created a bigger supply suffocation than what we saw in the 2012 Bitcoin halving. And hint, that was the biggest supply suffocation we've ever seen, and it created the biggest bull market we've ever seen as Bitcoin did a 100x, okay? So before we get into the moon maths, I want to begin with this chart that was on the thumbnail of today's video. So this here is showing you the OTC desks balance of Bitcoin. And you can see that it is essentially down 90% since March of 2020 alone, okay? So again, most of you guys have heard me talk about the fact that we've watched 40% of all of the available Bitcoin on exchanges disappear, but we've also seen 90% of all of the available OTC desk Bitcoin disappear since 2020. And we began seeing the supply suffocation in both areas, the OTC desks and the exchanges, in 2020, okay? So let's start diving down this rabbit hole and having a look at what else is happening. So again, we don't just look at one chart, we look at multiple charts here on the channel. We don't put all of our faith into one metric. This is another chart showing that the OTC balances of Bitcoin has been declining since it peaked in March 2020, okay? And this is obviously what's caused a little bit of a ruckus in the Bitcoin space, because most of you guys would remember Caitlin Long coming out and singing the alarm bell about the supply suffocation recently, okay? So this article, it's about 5 weeks old, okay? And I didn't do a video on it at the time because I didn't think it was a massive story. But then I dug a little bit deeper. We're going to get to what I found in my digging, but I want to break down the news for anyone who might have missed it. So we can see here, this article was published first week of March. OTC desks are rapidly running out of Bitcoin. This is coming from Caitlin Long, okay? And she says, I spent time in New York City over the past couple of days, and it's clear why the price of Bitcoin has spiked. There was almost no Bitcoin available for sale on the big OTC desks. So again, let's put everything into a little bit of context. This tweets from Caitlin Long and this concern about the amount of Bitcoin available for sale, it all popped up while Bitcoin was aggressively rallying from like $40,000 to $70,000 in the matter of a month, okay? And many people have speculated this was because of the fact that we actually saw not much Bitcoin available on exchanges. We're going to have a look at whether this could be true or not in a moment, but let's move on here and have a look at what Caitlin said. So as you can see, the HODL gang was mostly held. I spent a little bit of time in New York over the past couple of days, and it's clear why the price of Bitcoin has spiked. Caitlin believes that this is because OTC desks are running dry of Bitcoin. Caitlin's not the only person to say, hey, look, there's only 40 Bitcoin available for sale at any price at one point on a Wednesday in early March. This is what Caitlin Long was told by a quote-unquote credible source in early March. Okay, so again, she's not the only one. We can see that somebody who I used to follow when I was a little bit of a, let's say, degenerate shitcoiner, Sunny Decree, has also said the same thing. He says, warning, the price of Bitcoin is about to go parabolic. There's no OTC Bitcoin available while BlackRock customers are buying $500 million worth of Bitcoin daily. So he shares the same chart that we looked at a second ago. And it's pretty clear. It does show that there was at one point about 40 Bitcoin left on OTC desks, according to this data from Glassnode. But again, I always like to show you guys all of the data and both the bullish and the bearish arguments that I'm presenting to you. So we've had a look at the bullish argument, well, half of it. We haven't looked at the multiplier effect yet, but let's ground ourselves a little bit because there are counter arguments to these charts being circulated showing that there is not much Bitcoin held in these OTC desks. So some people will state the fact that the Glassnode darts, the Glassnode charts that have been shared around recently, they're only looking at 3 of the largest OTC desks. So they don't include all of the OTC desks. And this is true. And this is why some people have kind of said, hey, look, this data is not 100% reliable. We need to be looking at other data. And there are some bears who have kind of said, look, maybe it's not the best data we could be looking at. So we can see here that underneath the tweet we just looked at, TXMC, my good buddy, said this is only 3 desks. There are many more OTC desks. This is not an accurate figure. Now, I agree with my buddy TXMC. He is true that the Glassnode data that is being shared around is accurate. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. It is not entirely accurate, and it's only looking at 3 OTC desks. That's true. That's 100% correct. But the trend is what interests me. Okay, so when we go back to the original charts we started today's video with, we can see that the trend is very clear. 90% less Bitcoin are being found on these 3 OTC desks since March of 2020. And as far as I've been able to find out, certainly not an expert in on-chain data, certainly not an expert in OTC desks. Again, full disclosures, I'm just a 27-year-old Australian gringo in El Salvador with shitty Wi-Fi connection, having a look at a few charts and a few different articles. So again, disclosures where disclosures are due. But from what I've found, these OTC desks are pretty large OTC desks that Glassnode is looking at. And that's why it's only including these 3 OTC desks. So again, yes, it's not looking at all of the OTC desks. And there's probably more than 40 Bitcoin available for sale, like many people speculated there was in early March. But again, the trend is clear. And, it's not just this Glassnode data that is showing a pretty clear trend of coins leaving exchanges. We're going to show you BTC's ripping right now. We got the comments. They are absolutely blowing up. Dingo Booty, who's got probably one of the best handles I could see in the live chat right now, and said, BTC is ripping at the moment. We're going to have a look at the price of BTC in a moment and see whether this bullish Bitcoin live stream is pumping the price or not. But again, let's have a look at some more data saying, hey, look, maybe Caitlin Long, not Caitlin Wrong, is wrong about OTC desks running out of Bitcoin. Okay, so many people have kind of came out and said this isn't entirely accurate data. Okay, Coinbase has experienced a number of problems recently. Again, so these guys are kind of noting the same things that we've noted. The OTC desks don't look at all of the data. So here, Glassnode notes in its description of this chart that this data is based on 3 different OTC desks, a less than comprehensive look at the over-the-counter trading desk market. Again, that is true. Okay, we've agreed. We understand that is true, but something that is undisputable is that while we're seeing these 3 large OTC desks be drained of Bitcoin, so they hold 90% less Bitcoin than they did in 2020. We also have this data here. We can see very clearly that the total amount of Bitcoin on exchanges for sale is down by over 40% since March of 2020. So we can see by this chart that I have a big red line. This is signifying March of 2020. And we can actually see that the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges peaked in March of 2020. So again, I think the first 11 years of Bitcoin between 2009, 2020, this was era number 1. This was a time in Bitcoin's life when nobody understood what they held, okay? People were selling their Bitcoin for Lambos. They were mining Bitcoin. They were putting it on exchanges for fiat profits. Nobody knew what Bitcoin was, and nobody knew that Bitcoin was an asset that should be hodled for 100 years, in the words of Michael Saylor. But then we can see pretty clearly by this chart, something changed in March of 2020, okay? Again, we don't know what changed in 2020. Well, we do know that the money printers got fired up pretty aggressively, and we do know that 2020 was the year that the Kingdom of Bhutan actually started mining Bitcoin in Southeast Asia, obviously a country that nearly borders China, very interesting. And we also know that in 2020, Michael Saylor a billionaire CEO of a public company, publicly declared, I'm putting my whole $450 million treasury into Bitcoin. And we know that in early 2021, Bukele announced that his country was going to make Bitcoin legal tender. So again, like, I think this is the phase shift that Bitcoin went through in 2020. That's all public data. And you can see that since then, the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges had decreased by 40%. So we can see that 3.1 million coins in March 2020. Today, 1.9 million Bitcoin is left on exchanges. So I tweeted this out just before today's live stream. I said, who is withdrawing all of these Bitcoin off of the exchanges? Billionaires, nation states, high net worth individuals. What happens if this trend continues? What happens when there is no Bitcoin left on exchanges? And I said, this is the only chart that matters. Everything else is absolute noise. Everything. This is the only chart that matters, because when there is no Bitcoin left on exchanges, who knows what is going to happen? I have a thesis that we're going to see a supply suffocation like we've never seen before. And I think things are going to get absolutely wild. The trend is your friend, says Dan M in the chat. Holy Candle, says Don G Dangler. Another great name. Fuck, you guys cracked me up with the names in the live stream. I probably shouldn't say that on YouTube. We'll probably get the video booted off the platform, but there's some crackers in here. There's some great comments as well. Let me quickly, before we check in on the price of Bitcoin, I want to see where everybody's tuning in from. All Night Hider, New York City, get a rope. How do they come up with the OTC balance? So I believe the desks would report how much Bitcoin they hold. And I think there's also data looking into the trading volume. Maybe this is something I can look into a little bit deeper for a future video. Future boy. So I am massive apologies to everyone who waited for the beginning of today's live stream. As you can see, we got different background. We are in El Salvador, Bitcoin country, and I had a little bit of issues with the Wi-Fi. It's funny, we're actually sharing this home with someone else. So we have the bottom of the home, and I'm assuming like it's a private Airbnb. We're not sharing with anyone. Producer Pam wouldn't have that. No way she'd share a bathroom with a bunch of other Salvadorians. But there's somebody living in the top. So there's two different apartments in the top of the home. So I ran upstairs and I reset the Wi-Fi router. That's why I was having so many issues trying to connect today's video. I don't know why the Wi-Fi was terrible. So I apologize for being late, guys. Dingo Booty was a bit crabby by the looks of it. Perfect timing as George and Josh just ended their live stream. My good friends, George and Josh. It's good to see All Night Hider is tuning into the best YouTube channels on YouTube. The Rebel Capitalist channel, Joshua Lasard's YouTube channel, George Gammon's YouTube channel, and yeah, this one's not really one of the best. Just wanted to get a bit provocative there. Okay, so any other questions in the chat? The day you're on time, I'll be worried. Cost is a little bit of a regular. Okay, so let's check out I want to check out the price of Bitcoin because we've all seen the data. Okay, the number of Bitcoin on exchanges is absolutely disappearing. It is evaporating. Nobody knows where they're going. All we do know is that the ETFs are buying a shit ton of Bitcoin. Somebody got a little bit overly bullish and they said price is ripping. I wouldn't say price is ripping. I would say it's looking positive. It's looking bullish. It's looking healthy. It's coiling. Okay, we 100% do not do technical analysis on this video. But I know all of the losers on YouTube with their open mouths on YouTube are saying, oh, Bitcoin's consolidating here under an all-time high. This is potentially bullish. And I hate to say that I agree with the open mouth syndrome losers on YouTube, but I think that Bitcoin's having a nice, healthy correction. We've talked about the fact that Bitcoin, it's healthy to have corrections. And from peak to trough, this was a 18% shakeout that wiped out a lot of the, let's say, degenerate gamblers and degen traders, which is healthy. And you need to do that in a bull market because, as you can see, we haven't really had a correction in Bitcoin in a very, very long time. You can see we've had some little ones along the way. We saw a 20% correction the day that the ETFs were launched, and everybody was like, it's over. Bitcoin, it was a sell and use event. Bitcoin's dead. BlackRock's dumping on your heads. Think about all of the narratives we heard the day after the Bitcoin ETFs were launched. All of these losers like Gareth Soloway came out of the woodwork and they said, haha, I was right. I'm shorting Bitcoin. This was right about here when Bitcoin was $40,000 and it's nearly doubled since then, which is a beautiful thing to see. But that was the last correction we had. That was the last 20% bull market correction that we did see. This was way back in January 2024. So again, the most recent 20% pullback is enormously bullish. There is absolutely nothing wrong with what we're seeing in the Bitcoin space today. Bitcoin always consolidates just underneath its previous all-time highs. I would love to try to find the chart that I want to show you guys, because this is something that I was not able to dig up before I began today's live stream. I was stressing out about the Wi-Fi. I was stressing out about the new bloody setup we have here. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I can't actually find the chart. I'm really trying to find the chart. So maybe this will do. So this is showing you that in 2020, it took Bitcoin, 3 to 4 weeks to break above its 2017 all-time high. So I'm going to try to make that chart as big as I can for you guys, so you can actually see that it took Bitcoin, it first touched $20,000 in November, maybe early December 2020, and we didn't actually definitively break above the all-time high until 3 to 4 weeks later. So again, this is an interesting chart. It's an interesting fractal. Nobody knows where the price of Bitcoin is going to go in the future, but we can see that if history repeats, we're probably due for a big bull market rally soon. Again, nobody knows where the price of Bitcoin is going to go, especially men with man buns. Look at Clout Casino in the comments. Man buns are gay, always have been, always will be. Speaking as someone with a shit haircut who's cut their own hair for 8 years, so I can't make any comments about hairdos, but I will tell you Gareth Soloway's hair bun is absolutely terrible. Less man bun is a no bueno. McLovin in the chat's loving it. He's got the Spanish going as well. Maybe McLovin watches George's YouTube channel, because George always breaks out the no bueno. It's funny. George lives in Colombia, for those who don't know. And he speaks more Spanish than he lets on, which is funny. Somebody else had another Spanish comment in the live chat. I want to see that. I'm sorry. I'm really getting distracted today, guys. I think it's the jet lag. We came back from Europe, 20-hour flight. So I'm sorry. I've been a little bit fried since landing back in El Salvador. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? McLovin's blowing up the chat. Sorry, I can't find it. Oh, Future Boy, mañana. I'll have the Wi-Fi finished tomorrow morning. It'll be fixed tomorrow morning. Mañana. Okay. I promise I'm going to get back into the data. I'm going to reorient myself in a second. Luke, what is the deal with these power laws? People, and what are your thoughts on it? They seem like they're bearish know-it-alls. Okay, I agree. Power laws are an absolute... Jesus, this camera's moving on me while we've been doing the live stream. I don't know what's happening. Maybe I bumped the table. Anyway, power laws. They're an absolute meme. So I've actually filmed a dedicated video explaining why power laws are a meme. You guys are probably going to see it in 2 days' time on Monday. And that is because I will be traveling to Berlin in El Salvador. Never been to Berlin before, but it is apparently the second largest Bitcoin peer-to-peer community in the country. So I'm excited. I'm giving a little bit of a bullish talk, and I'm going to be on a couple of panels there. So again, if you're in El Salvador, you want to say hello to me, come down. Had a blast at the Halving party, meeting a number of you guys who watch the channel. So thank you for coming up and saying hello. I love meeting anyone who watches my crazy rants online. So power laws are a meme. You're going to see why they're a meme on this coming Monday or Tuesday when I'm traveling. I'm trying to do a daily video for you guys for the rest of the bull market. And so I will not be able to go live on Sundays, but I will be putting out some videos that I've filmed. So power laws are meme. And McLovin says, do you sometimes think that maybe all models will be destroyed as Bitcoin tends to do the unpredictable? Great point, McLovin. Bitcoin is going to it's going to do the thing of Max Payne. Okay, so in 2021, I wrote an 8,000 word article for Bitcoin Magazine, first article I'd ever written at the time for Bitcoin Magazine, and I said, look, in the upcoming cycle, everybody was fantasizing over stock to flow in 2021, and in this 8,000 word article, I said, look, okay, Bitcoin is a macro asset now. At the time, I was saying the exact same things I'm saying today, 3 years later. I was saying, look at the supply suffocation that started. At the time, we had seen 18 months of coins leaving the exchanges. At the time, Michael Saylor was buying Bitcoin, El Salvador was buying Bitcoin, and I said there is a 30% probability that we break all of these models in the upcoming Bitcoin bull market because Bitcoin is a macro asset. So that was my argument in 2021. And when the Fed started raising interest rates at the fastest pace that ever risen them before, obviously Bitcoin broke the stock to flow model, but it broke it to the downside. Okay, so at the time when I wrote that article, the Fed said they're not even thinking about raising rates. They said we're never going to raise rates. We're going to stay at the zero bound for a very long time, and they kept saying inflation is transitory, inflation is transitory, inflation is transitory. So again, that's a little bit of background surrounding my wrong 2021 Bitcoin call, because some people say, look, Luke, you were very bullish. We didn't go to 500K like you said it was a possibility, a 30% possibility. What happened? Well, again, so I said 30% probability we break these cycles to the upside in 2021. In 2025, I actually think there's a 50% probability that we break, stock to flow and the power law model, which is this bull market's model, to the upside. Okay, so that's my thoughts. And I've got a couple more questions. I'm just going to take a quick drink. I'm absolutely sweating bullets. I love El Salvador. It's just fucking hot. It really is. Okay. Next comment. Oh, fuck, the girlfriend is speaking in Spanish. I don't even understand. Loja de mañana. I think that says I will in tomorrow morning. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, producer Pam. Is that correct or incorrect? I think she's got the AirPods in. I don't think she can hear me. I'm looking straight at her. Okay. Will you be at Rebel Capitalists Live? Probably not. Because I actually have to, producer Pam over here has separation anxiety. She doesn't really, but she hates when I go to other countries and leave her on her own. So I will not be going to Rebel Capitalist Live because Pam can't get a visa for the US. And I love her too much to leave her on her own in El Salvador. I'm getting the eyes right now. So I will not be at Rebel Capitalist Live. All Night Hider, I think it'll be a great show. I think you're going to really enjoy it. I love everything that George is doing. He's a great friend of mine. He's actually a really cool dude. 500K by February 26th. That's bullish. That is incredibly bullish. It's a bit too short term for me. But I think something like that is like, I give it like a 50% probability. I think there's a genuine like 10% probabilities I think there's a 10% probability that's Bitcoin tops out at 100K or 150K. That for me, I think that is the common consensus being floated by all of these gurus. Like, well, they're not really gurus, are they? But your macro bros, your Dan Tapieros, your Rao Poles, actually, I think Rao's a little bit more bullish, to be honest. But he's just wrong on the whole crypto side of things. But all of these kind of macro Bitcoiners, and all your bearish Bitcoiners are saying, look, 100K is most likely next top. I think that's a 10% probability. Okay, so I think there's 10% probability we top it somewhere 100 to 150K. I think maybe 20 to 30% probability we top at like 250 to 500. And then I think there's a 50% probability we go above 500. And I would classify that as a quote unquote super cycle. So that is my thoughts on the power laws and all of these models. Producer Pam has a fan. Apocalypse is in the chat. He loves Producer Pam's work. Clout Casino, I shaved my head too. I refuse to pay Bitcoin for a haircut. Legend. Refuse to pay Bitcoin for a haircut. Stack sats. I might do a video calculating the amount of sats I've saved by cutting my own dodgy hair for the past 8 years. Maybe 9 years. It's been a long time since I paid for a haircut. I got one in Colombia because it was like $8. And I like to try something new. Soloway's hair makes him so credible. fuck, you guys might crack me up in the chat. Bill Pickford, less than 2,000 blocks left. That is correct. The Bitcoin halving is coming. We have a ton of videos. And again, I think everybody should be doing anything they can to stack more sats. Like my man Chico in the van. Should I get the van lifted or get more sats? Come on, Chico. You know what I'm going to say to that. Maybe get the van lifted at 200K, 250K. That's when I'll consider spend a little bit of money on some of these residencies and visa things that I have to do. Hawaii, we got so many Hawaii, one of my favorite places in the world. I love that place. I spent a month in Hawaii on Big Island. Shout out to Multi-Stacker. Don't tell us what island you're on if you don't want to. But again, you can if you like. I love Hawaii. It's absolutely breathtaking. Dan M says, Luke or Pam, do you anticipate talking about wallets? So confusing, and tried to find that calendar about moving out of exchanges. What video was that on? Okay, let me pull that up for you. So the calendar you're talking about would be my calendar. So again, you guys know that I'm working with Bitcoin advisors. So our mission is to drain the exchanges of Bitcoin. So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about what a collaborative custody multi-signature setup is, you can book a free 15-minute consultation on my calendar, and you can learn more about what we do at the Bitcoin Advisors, as well as all of the other things that I can help you with. So I'm happy to help you get Bitcoin off the exchanges. You can buy my time by the hour. My time is too precious to give it away for free, sadly. I spent hundreds of hours helping onboard friends and family in Australia, but time is far too scarce now. So if you want to pay me to hold your hand getting Bitcoin off an exchange or setting up a multi-signature setup, you can do that. Or if you just want to learn more about how I can help you, book the free 15-minute consultation. So there's the calendar, Dan M. That is always linked in the description of the videos. So producer Pam also slapped it in the chat. I saw her. She's doing a job today. She's not bad. She's a bit of a keeper, young producer Pam. Okay, so when you sleep with the producer, things get complicated. Oh Jesus, I'm gonna take that off screen before producer Pam's mum sees that comment. Jesus, that could get us in some stroof. That's an Australian word, some stroof. Rao bought the dip, obviously. Oh, Rao, hello, Matt Boswell in Melbourne. Get the sats. We got 99 people watching. Hello to the 100 people tuning in on YouTube. I was going to stream to Twitter today, but it's just too lazy. I was too stressed out trying to fix the fucking Wi-Fi, so I forgot to stream to Twitter. I'm sorry about that. Rao is way better about promoting Bitcoin since everyone stopped teasing him so much on Twitter. He's actually pushing Bitcoin and doing decent Bitcoin boomer whisperer videos now. Look, I agree. He's better than he was in the peak of the last bull market, but this is something that I talk about a lot on the channel. I always talk about how every Bitcoin bull market you see things change. Okay, so in this stage of the Bitcoin bull market, most people are maximalists. Okay, so most people are saying, hey, I love Bitcoin. Bitcoin's great. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I don't do much in crypto, right? And this is because Bitcoin is outperforming right now. But as soon as altcoins start to outperform, all of a sudden, all of these quote unquote Bitcoin maximalists, they turn into full-blown crypto degens and start shilling shit coins. And look, I have a feeling that Rao is probably going to dive into that same, because he did the same thing in 2019. So I was watching Rao since 2019. When Bitcoin started breaking out above 10K in 2020, he was Bitcoin only, Bitcoin. Then 2021 happened and crypto started outperforming, and he just went full degen. Oh, buy Solana risk-free, buy Terra risk-free, buy FTX, store your money in FTX risk-free. He started Crypto Vision on Real Vision, and he was getting like $10,000, $20,000 payments from all of these crypto projects to do a dedicated interview. Okay, all of the data is out there if you want to find it. But I'm fearful that Rao will slip again into his degenerate ways shortly. Luke, what is the smallest UTXO that should be moved off an exchange to cold storage? For me, that's about 1 million Satoshis. So that is 0.01 Bitcoin. Today, that would be worth about $680. Is my maths correct? Producer Pam, you're great at maths. She's looking at me with the big wide eyes. She hates maths. I'm joking, honey. I know it's $680. So $680, I think, should be your smallest UTXO that you move off an exchange. Again, if you want help consolidating UTXOs, learning more about coin control and what UTXOs you should have in your wallet, you can also book a call. That's something I can help you with. It's something I've done myself. Consolidating UTXOs and having UTXOs at various different levels. Okay, so Cos says that's not enough. So I agree. I have multiple different sizes UTXOs. I have, again, I don't want to dox my stash, but hypothetically, let's do some round numbers for someone who might be new. Let's assume someone has 1 Bitcoin in cold storage. I think the best way to split that up in UTXOs would be to have 2 to 3 UTXOs of maybe 0.2 Bitcoin. So again, that's going to have a lot of purchasing power in the future. 0.2 Bitcoin could be buying you a house in the future. Honestly, I believe that. So if I had 1 Bitcoin for simplified, easy demonstrative purposes, I would have 1 or 2 UTXOs at about 0.2 size. I would maybe have 3 to 4 UTXOs at 0.1, so 10% of a Bitcoin. And then I would have some smaller UTXOs at about 1 million Satoshis each, or 0.01 Satoshis. I would have maybe 10 or 15 of those as well. Dingo Booty says Bitcoin just smashed. Well, he didn't say smashed. He said hit $69,000. Okay, let's go back to the charts. Are we going to break 70K live stream? Maybe we are. Have a look at that. Have a look at that sexy little consolidation. We've even got the TA guru lines on the chart. Oh, it's disgusting. Let's take that off. It's honestly disgusting. We don't want to give the degenerates with their trading courses and but it is looking like Bitcoin's kind of consolidating here. So look out, guys. Maybe we smash an all-time high next week. Nobody knows where the price of Bitcoin is going to go in the short term. Oh, fuck. Sorry, guys. I'm not sharing my screen. Here it is. So this is showing you. Bitcoin is having a nice day. And I was kind of saying, hey, look, Bitcoin's consolidating here. Lower highs and higher lows. Next week should be pretty interesting. We're either going to break down or we're going to break up. Again, nobody knows where the price of Bitcoin is going to go in the short term. We all understand that. We have Farah Towers says, let's go 69K bull run, April 18, Bitcoin halving, just 12 days left. The model that showed if you daily issuance 2 years later, if you become a millionaire, inspired me. Okay. That's amazing. So there's a model that if you own the daily issuance 2 cycles later, you're a millionaire. It inspired me my DCA journey. Clout Casino, that is amazing. So I wonder how many sats. I want to actually find that model. I can't remember if I talked about that. If it wasn't me who talked about that Clout Casino, slap it in the chat because I would love to look at that model. That would be very, very interesting for me. All Night Hider says, hit the like button for Luke. Thank you, my friend. The like button helps, I honestly don't know, but I think liking the videos helps push the videos in front of more people on YouTube. I think. Not entirely sure, but hey, smash it if you want. That would be helpful. Last question. Only 3 likes. Come on, guys. That's what Cos says. Yeah, come on, guys. 3 likes. You can do better than that. Producer Pam's talking about how she studied Real Vision. Going to flip to Rect Vision. Real Vision was already Rect Vision in 2021 cycle because Rao went all in on Ethereum. And if you were to actually look, let me actually show you a chart. I've just been talking shit for the past 15 minutes. Let me try to give you some value. I'm sorry. I haven't done a live stream in 2 days. I've been a little bit distracted today. I'm going to blame my internet debacle on why this live stream's been so poor. I'll make it up to you guys tomorrow. I've got a cracker of a live stream planned for you guys tomorrow. But this here is the ETH BTC chart. So Rao went all in on Bitcoin. Oh, sorry. He went all in on Ethereum here, right at the Pico top. Since then, and so did David Hoffman from Bankless. They went all in on Bitcoin right here at the very top. Since then, ETH is down 44% against Bitcoin. And when you zoom in, it looks like it's going to break a lot lower. Okay. I used to be a degenerate trader and I stopped trading when I learned that all traders lose money. Most traders lose money. So I'm going to try to show you the chart. Producer Pam's on me. So this is the ETH BTC chart. Sorry guys, I'm absolutely fried today. I got way too much sun or sol, as they say in Latin America. But you can see here the ETH BTC chart looks absolutely disgusting. When you zoom in on it, it's just been going down only. And it's down 40% since Rao and David Hoffman from Bankless, or should we say Moneyless, after he's just lost 44% of his value holding a shitcoin instead of Bitcoin. So as you can see, ETH is down 45% against Bitcoin since this 2021 bull market. And as you can see, it's just been setting lower highs and lower lows all the way down. So as you can see, ETH has been trending down against Bitcoin for the past 7 years. And again, this is something you learn. No altcoins outperform Bitcoin in the long term. Okay. All altcoins trend to zero against Bitcoin. If I were to try to find the chart I want to show you guys, I'm hoping I can find it. I can find it. Legend. Okay, very nice. Thank you, Google. You are a champion. So this is the chart I want to show you guys. As you can see, this is a chart of the top 2,500 altcoins. And as you can see, they all trend to zero. So sometimes they outperform Bitcoin in one cycle, but eventually they just continue to set lower highs and lower lows against Bitcoin, and nothing outperforms Bitcoin in the long term. Ethereum is a perfect example of this, and it looks as if it's just another shitcoin pump and dump. No, there are no shitcoiners in El Salvador, Kev. I haven't found many. I saw one guy yesterday at the Bitcoin halving party with a Monero shirt, and I like to be provocative and say that Monero is a shitcoin. I'm not so sure. I think it's out of all of the altcoins, Monero is the most respectable one. Okay, and I still think it's a shitcoin. Howdy from New Zealand. G'day, Lacola. We are in El Salvador right now, so we're a long way from New Zealand, but hope you're doing well. I'm very interested to see what you guys think about my new dodgy background. Let me know if you hate it or you rate it or whether it's shit. We just quickly threw this together. Do you think the camera is better than usual? I don't know why I feel like the quality looks slightly higher today. I'd love for you guys to let me know in the chat. Okay. So apparently we got 37 likes on the video and 100 people watching. Thank you for updating us on COS. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Today was a little bit all over the place. Answered a lot of questions, but didn't go through as much data as we normally do here on the live stream. So I apologize about that. Again, if you joined halfway through, you can head back, watch the beginning of the live stream where we had more of the charts. You can check those out. Stay tuned. We're going to go live again tomorrow, and I promise to have a little bit more research and a little bit more data behind tomorrow's live stream. Should be a cracker. I was going to actually do it today, but just didn't have the time to do all of the research that I wanted to do for that video, because it is a cracker. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Lively chat as always. Amazing to see some of the regulars in the chat. Hope you have a phenomenal day. I'm going to cut this puppy right here. If you want to hear about what the halving party was like in El Salvador, let me know. Maybe I can talk about that in tomorrow's live stream. If you're interested in learning more, the TLDR was that it was an absolute blast. It was very cool. And this was my 4th time in El Salvador, and every time I come back, the country's continues to change. So thank you to everyone who tuned in. I had a blast, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Actually, lots of people have asked about the power law. Let me quickly, if you missed it, published 2 videos yesterday looking at the Bitcoin power law. So I published the full interview that I had with Preston Pish in person in Madeira on the bitcoinnews.com YouTube channel. I published a teaser to it on my personal channel yesterday, a 15-minute teaser about it. And at the end of that video, there is a link that'll take you to the Bitcoin News YouTube channel. So if you do want to check that out and you missed that interview, check it out. You can see the press and pish thumbnail on my personal YouTube channel. So lots of people asked about the Bitcoin Power Law. I'm going to do a Bitcoin Power Law week and release that other video later on in the week. But with all that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow.